5 from 5 and another thumping win on the weekend. You must be really pleased with how you started the season.
Yeah, definitely really happy with how we're tracking, and to have a really convincing win, I guess, back on our own home court has been awesome, and to have 10 players contribute and to give opportunities to some players that have had less minutes than others, I think was really important for us, and everyone's performing really well and making our jobs really difficult around selection and opportunities and those types of things. But we're in a great spot early in the season, long way to go, but tracking very nicely early days.
You've spoken non-stop of the need to draw on 10 players, and resting Kelsey on the weekend allowed you to try out a few new combinations, throw Jess into centre and just get, debutant new game time and everything. How did you find the contributions that you had?
Oh, amazing. I thought it was great to be able to explore a different starting lineup, and I guess the way we're looking at our starting lineup, it's the 7 that will open the game for us, knowing that it will shift and change as the game goes on, and I thought that was great to explore some different defensive combinations. I think Ruth on debut was outstanding. The crowd absolutely adored her, and she played with amazing confidence, and we probably weren't surprised because we see that every training session from her, but her ability to just get out there and do her job was outstanding. And even young Olivia Wilkinson, who's probably had the least amount of minutes of any of our attacking players, I thought the 30 minutes she put out there on court was a real glimpse of the future, if not the present, and she's certainly taken a lot of confidence from that performance as well.
Kelsey was managed. How's she doing?
Yeah, she's tracking really well. So she had a little bit of knee soreness after the Swifts game, and because of the flying, there's a bit of swelling that needed more time to settle, and she's back on the training track this week. So hopefully we can get her back on court pretty soon, but it's probably not something that we're going to rush immediately. She's more of a senior athlete that probably needs a bit of management like most of the senior athletes will. So if we can get her back for this week, we will. If not, it will be Vixens the following week.
How pleased were you with that new look lineup on the weekend and to have such a convincing win? Did you expect that? Were you surprised at all by that result? I
was definitely surprised by the margin. I think we went into the game knowing that Firebirds had been in every single contest so far in their first 4 rounds, and even if they were down on the scoreboard, they had demonstrated a great level of tenacity to fight their way back into games. So we really weren't anticipating that level of margin at the end. We were really holding them in high regard, that they would keep chipping away at us even if we were up and in control a little bit. So that was a bit of a surprise, I think, and from a combination perspective, not overly surprised at how well they did, because we use those combinations all the time at training. We just haven't had to tap into them too much during the first 4 rounds. So it forced our hand a little bit to make sure we keep exploring the depth, and it was a really productive day for us in that regard.
This time last year, it felt like there was a bit of deja vu. We were coming here every week. You were winning by 1 goal on the right side of those narrow results. But this year, there seems to be quite a bit of diversity in your results. You were really challenged by the Mavericks. You've had a 36-goal win over the Firebirds. How much does that hold you in good stead that you've won in such different ways?
Yeah, I think it's the ability and how we're winning, and our ability to be really comfortable going goal for goal early and then find our moments to get a bit of control of the game. And because we are using the 10 players, the fresh legs just keeps the energy and the tempo of the game at a really high pace. And we're challenging teams to try and keep up with us in that regard. And I think that's working really well for us, and something we need to stay really disciplined to keep doing and exploring. And there are still other combinations that we've got in our training environment that we haven't had a look at just yet. So, we don't want to be resting on our laurels early days in the season. We're probably pleasantly surprised, or surprising ourselves at our level of dominance early. But we've certainly shifted our mentality in terms of how we want to play. There's been a bit of a shift in the game plan, but also just the ability to have 10 players and 11 players now, including Ruth, that can get on and do a job with very different skill sets to their teammates, I think is working really well for us at this point in time.
Thunderbirds, what's the biggest threat this Saturday?
Oh, we're really excited for this one. I think it's, they're the defending champions, right? So they've got the target on their back, and we can't wait to have a crack at them. And, statistically, we're the best attacking team. Statistically, they're the best defensive team. And they've probably got the level of athleticism that can match our athleticism in the front line. So strategy is going to be important, skills are going to be important, and individual matchups as well. So it's a bit of a free shot for us. We're tracking really well. They are the defending champs, and we just can't wait to test ourselves against the best in the business.
Any extra spice for you with your past affiliations?
No, not so much for me. I think the Jamaicans are going to love going head to head. 6 of them on the court is going to be ferocity and flair all over the place. But they're as good friends as much as they are fierce rivals. So I think it's just going to be a great spectacle of some of the best netball talent in the world, and hopefully we can come away on the right side of the ledger.
And after the back-to-back away games, and obviously the toll that took on Kelsey, to have back-to-back home games? How does that sort of hold the group?
Yeah, I think really important. I think our first 4 rounds were pretty tough with 3 big away trips out of the first 4 games. And, you know, we did identify that block of the season that if we could get through it pretty well, we'd set ourselves up nicely. So we really want to maximise the next fortnight with home games and playing in front of our fans and, you know, the same routines, sleeping in our own beds and all that type of stuff. So whilst it's still very early days in the season, every week is important to bank wins and protect yourself as best you can. So, yeah, we're really keen for the next couple of weeks for sure.
It is a big couple of weeks. You got third this weekend, then the undefeated Vixens the following week. Is the team aware of how important this fortnight is, and what are you sort of putting in place to make sure you get the most out of it and really set yourself up?
Yeah, I think the competitiveness inside our training environment is pretty fierce, and not only the battle for selection, but the battle for court time and opportunity and matchups and all those types of things. I think that keeps the group really healthy and on edge in a really good way to ensure that we're showing up every single day. And we're excited to come up against 2 of the best teams in the competition in Thunderbirds and the Vixens, and both will challenge us in different ways. But I think whilst it is still very early on in the season, we want to be tested as much as we can to really see where our game is under pressure, because whilst we haven't been in too many pressure situations so far in terms of the scoreline being close, our game has certainly been tested in different parts, particularly in that Mavericks game where we had to just find a way to win ugly essentially. But they're all important skills, and you know, we want to test ourselves against the best and see how our game stacks up early days.
I know for Jess, it's been very well documented taking over from Courtney, but just a few words on how you've seen her leadership and what's sort of impressed you so far this season.
Amazing. I think she's the perfect person to be leading this new group, and the culture which has been created here around it being really championing equality and no one person being bigger than the team. And you know, as we've seen, no one person's immune from coming off the court or playing a big role, a small role, an impact role. And the team first mindset has been enormous from the group, and that's been led through Jess, Janelle and Alice as our 3 leaders. And Jess just playing some of the best netball I've seen her play consistently, and very measured, very respected by everybody, and the perfect person to be leading this club forward for sure.